Hey everyone! I wanted to try something different and do a storytime video instead of speed arts with music behind them. I know, I've gone from, good music to my voice. It's a change for me too. Before I start the story, I wanted to explain what I am drawing in this video. Drawing Fern from Frieren, Beyond Journey's End. It's a really good anime that will make you cry happy tears. Really? It's a good show, go watch it. Anyway, let's get to the story. We got Max on July 4th of 2021. It was only a few months after we got married, and my dad's words echoed through my head. It's not the best idea to get a pet right after you get married. And again, Max kinda adopted us, instead of us adopting him. We have seen Max in the past before. He would rub up against us when we would come home from work. He was just one of those many stray cats in our apartment complex. As many of you know, 4th of July is America's Independence Day, and lots of fireworks are usually set off. Max was not happy about the fireworks and stayed by our door. My husband and I saw this and agreed to open the door for him if he wanted to come inside and stay away from the fireworks for a bit. Max walked right in. He was really friendly and loved our attention. I decided to go to the nearby CVS and get some cat food and some litter, while my husband watched him at home. My husband eventually picked up Max and put him on his lap. Max started purring and his heart melted. At this point, we thought Max was someone else's cat in the complex, so we would call our apartment office the next day asking if anyone was missing a black cat. They said no. We then took Max to the pet store to see if he had been chipped. No dice there. My husband and I are both animal lovers. It was hard to see this black cat stuck out in the Texas heat. We decided to keep him. After seeing his personality a bit more, I came up with the name Max. I know, very original. He was mischievous and overall a very social cat. He was still a kitten at this point. We would later take him to the vet, and the vet said he was about 6 months to a year old. I texted a picture of Max to my mom and said, "His name is Max. Please break the news to Dad easily." I know my dad wasn't happy, but he understands that I love animals, and we had the means to support Max. We only had Max for about 2 full weeks before we had to go on a planned vacation. In the meantime, one of my husband's coworkers took care of Max. In the next few months, we had learned Max has some anxiety issues. We believed him to have separation anxiety. Max would randomly attack my legs, bite my hand, and scratch the living crap out of me. We knew if he wasn't fixed yet, but I never experienced so much random violence from a kitten, and I grew up with multiple cats. After a few months, we were able to get him fixed. We noticed that his attacks would decrease, but they were still a common occurrence. There are times where he would scratch my face while I was laying in bed. After a while, we considered rehoming him. But who would want this cat who attacks people randomly? Would this cat even get more anxious if we rehomed him? He doesn't deserve that. I powered through the cat scratches and bites so that he could have a stable home. Me and my husband both love this cat, but he was getting to us. My arms were covered in scratch marks and scabs. My coworkers were very worried about me. About a year later, Max was chilling out more and more. During this time, we got him a harness/vest. If any of you guys know about the thunder shirts for dogs, this vest has a very similar effect for him. It calms him down. Even with all these factors, Max still had his moments. Like the story in this video is based on, Max nearly took out my eye. My husband has already left for the morning. I was home alone, half asleep in bed. I was laying on my side with my head facing the nightstand on my side. Max was ever so quiet, walked up to my side of the bed. He spontaneously jumps on the bed and scratches my face, then jumps down and runs away. Adrenaline hit me and I was wide awake. I covered the right side of my face after feeling blood run down it. I kept tissues on the nightstand and I grabbed those and covered the wound. As calmly as I could, I got up and walked to the bathroom. I leaned over the sink and covered the wound, and there was about 1.5 inch gash right above my eye socket. It was high enough in my face to miss my eyeball. That really is the true bright side of this all. The cat missed my eye. I cleaned the cut with soap and water and covered it again with clean paper towels. I sat back down, putting light pressure on the wound. I was shaking a bit from the adrenaline, but I was overall okay. I wasn't even in that much pain. I just sat there debating if I would need to get stitches or not. I really didn't want to get stitches because of my cat, but I wasn't sure how this wound would heal if I left it alone. At the time, our insurance had a nurse line to call if we had questions about medical stuff. They also provided locations of facilities that use our insurance. I called them to ask if I needed to go to the ER or if urgent care will do. After asking the questions about how large the wound was and if I was in shock, she then recommended the ER. I later learned that most urgent care places don't do stitches, so that's why she probably recommended the ER. At that point, I was keeping pressure on my wound. I didn't feel comfortable driving. I called my husband to pick me up and take me to the ER. All throughout this debacle, I was texting my husband and sending him pictures of the wound, so he wasn't totally taken off guard when I called him about it. I got in the car and explained that the nurse wanted me to go to the ER to get the stitches. Instead of going to the ER, my husband took me to the urgent care instead. I argued, but he said if they can take care of me, it'd be a lot faster than the ER. In this case, he was right. After doing the paperwork, they took me back into the hallway. The doctor asked me to uncover my eye and then stopped me. The doctor was going to take me to a regular exam room, but then after seeing my wound, took me to a small medical bed and had me lay down on it. From there, she looked at it and flushed it out with saline, told me she was going to do 3 stitches. The doctor then carefully numbed me and then did the stitches. This part took the longest, but it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it might be. I was prescribed antibiotics from it being an animal wound and told to put antibiotic cream on the wound the next morning. I was then supposed to come back 3 days later to get the stitches removed. During all this, I was supposed to be getting ready for working. My husband called my work and told my boss I wouldn't be coming in that day. My boss, who remembers seeing my scarred arms, understood. My husband then took me home, and he went back to work. I stayed home and slept off the adrenaline. The next day, I unfortunately had to go to work with stitches in my face. I had explained to people that the cat I loved nearly took out my eye. I don't remember any customers asking me about it. It was probably a slow day, or the customers were too polite to ask. I really don't remember. I guess I could have said it was a bear attack or something more funny, but I'm no comedian. Fortunately, the 5 days came and went, and I got the stitches removed. The experience was much faster and easier. My doctor was overall amazing, and the scar afterwards was closed, but it was a bright pink color. As of today, the scar is just that, a scar. It blends in pretty well with my eyelid. The story sounds surprising, but this isn't the first time Max has gotten close to my eye. There was a time before this that he actually did get my eye. It was a very similar start to the story. I was half asleep in bed, and I just opened up my eyes to see Max at the side of the bed, and I got the feeling that he was about to attack me. At this point, I had some ideas when he was about to ambush me, and this felt like one of those times. I was in the middle of closing my eyes when he got me. I only had a small puncture wound on the side of my face, but I felt that he had got my eye too. I was crying at this point and woke up my husband. I asked him to look at my eye and see if there was anything wrong. I was able to see just fine, but there was a small feeling of a piece of sand in my eye or something like that. He said he didn't see anything. I got up at this point and walked to the bathroom. I cleaned the blood off from my punctures and my face and all that, like before, then took a careful look at my eyes. I saw a very small pink indent on the white of my eye. I yelled my husband's name and told him very strongly that the cat did in fact get my eye. After calming down a bit, I made sure to wash the eye out with water. My eyes didn't really hurt, it just felt like I had a small piece of sand stuck in my eye, as I said before. I did what any normal person would do, but didn't want to go to the doctor. I googled what to do with the minor eye scratch. Most websites said to see an optometrist, but did I do that? No. I did do the other steps though. I cleaned it with water, I didn't touch it, and I let it heal on its own. At the end of the day, the small scratch did heal on its own, and I can see just fine today, thank goodness. It freaked me out more than it needed to. It was this attack that really got my husband and I thinking about rehoming Max. We weren't sure what to do with him. He was a great cat and we loved him. He just had this weird flaw. As I said earlier, Max kept getting better and is still with us, but it did scare us pretty bad. Today, Max is a much better and overall great cat. Max the cat is even more chill, and we have been a lot more careful about sleeping with the cat around. We have moved away and into a bigger home. I think that Max was just anxious being cooped up in a small apartment and wanting attention. If any of you want to share your theories, please let me know. Anything will help at this point, but he's doing okay right now. If you like this video, please hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you, and be safe out there.